He never broke in. He never touched us. And that's exactly what made it terrifying. My girlfriend and I recently moved into our new house that it's honestly the home we've been dreaming of, the perfect fit for us. We have a cat named Bella, whom we rescued together, so everything felt perfect when we first moved in. The only downside was the house to our right that looked abandoned. The owner had started renovating it, but never finished. The layout of the houses is such that on our right there's a space for the entrance to our back garden, and next to that is the abandoned house's entrance. To its back garden, there's no fence separating the two. The owner removed it to install a new one, but never completed the job. Both back gardens were left with open access. Behind the abandoned house lies another property, separated by a fence. From what we could see, several young men lived there. Occasionally, when we returned home, we'd see them cutting through the neighbor's back garden to reach the front of the street. We didn't think much of it at first. Maybe they knew the owner. Maybe they had permission. Fast forward to our first night in the new house. We were sitting in the back garden, enjoying the space, and looked up at the houses behind us. Just out of curiosity, that's when we noticed a man. He was staring blankly at us from a window. He wasn't hiding it. He made it very obvious. There was no expression on his face. The room was dark. That made the whole thing even more unsettling. We assumed he was just curious about his new neighbors. But after half an hour of that blank stare, we decided to go inside. The next few days were normal. I went to work. But my fiancé continued unpacking. One night, we decided to sit in the garden again. It was dark, but we enjoyed looking at the stars and having deep conversations until we heard the makeshift wooden board fence being moved. 3 men appeared, standing there, staring at us. "Are you okay?" I asked, knowing they wouldn't leave unless I said something. The youngest looking one, around 29, was holding a big bag. We had no idea what was inside. He offered us some stolen washing up tablets that we declined. I made a joke because the situation felt so awkward. He smiled and said, "Okay." And then they left. What struck me was how they just let themselves into our garden without saying anything, as if they had every right to be there. We went back inside, thinking it was a one-off. But it all started getting worse from there. They began helping themselves into our garden more often, acting in ways that were clearly meant to intimidate us. They would get into the next door house, be lifting up the fence separating the back gardens and walking through. I forgot to mention, my girlfriend and I are both 20 years old. So of course, the idea that they might be trying to intimidate 2 young women was the first thing that crossed our minds. One day, while I was cleaning the front room, 2 police officers came around the side of our house and entered the abandoned garden. They lifted up the fence, looked around for a few minutes, then left, without saying anything. I thought it was strange, but I continued with my day, assuming maybe the people next door were troubled. A few days later, the police knocked on our door. They explained that the house behind us was now vacant. The men had been kicked out for antisocial behavior, apparently not just toward us, but toward other neighbors too. Honestly, we were relieved. Even though they hadn't physically done anything yet, it meant they wouldn't get the chance to escalate things. We continued settling into the house. But one day, while I was in the bath, I heard a loud bang outside. I quickly got dressed and ran to find my girlfriend. I found her recording something from our spare bedroom window, which faces the garden of the now empty house. I asked what was going on. She shushed me. After a moment, She explained that a man we had never seen before pointed up at our bedroom window, and when she noticed him, he sprinted full speed toward our house. He tried our door handle on the way past, then ran back into the garden, threw the broken fence up, and started banging on all the windows off the empty house. That we called the police immediately. They came, watched the video, took a statement, then left. We were shaken. Why would he try our door handle and then break into that house? What was he planning? A few nights later, while we were in bed, we heard whistling. The kind of whistle men you see to harass women. It was 2:16 a.m. We listened quietly, then heard someone tapping on our window. Terrified, we checked the cameras, but for some reason, they didn't record anything. Whoever it was must have left shortly after, because the noises stopped. That we were too scared to sleep. So the next day, we went to my mom's and stayed the night. When we returned the following morning, we noticed our Ring doorbell had been removed and placed on the floor. The SD card was gone. Someone had clearly come back, and we knew who it was. Who else would do that? We called the police again. They told us to keep all doors and windows locked. The woman on the phone even said the removal of the camera could be a sign that they were planning something, which terrified us even more. But at least she was honest. The whistling, the banging, the attempts to re-enter the house continued for weeks. We made multiple police reports. They never tried our door again, so we hoped it was over. But 3 weeks later, while in bed watching funny clips from our camera, we checked the live feed. That's when we saw him. A man outside, wearing a black mask covering his mouth and nose. His hood was up. That he stood in front of our garden, arms spread wide, like he was imitating Jesus on the cross. He stared up at our bedroom window, his head tilted. That we froze at the time. We had moved the camera inside, so it didn't record. That we were so shaken, we didn't even think to screen record. He then spoke, but we couldn't hear what he said. Then he turned around, walked to the opposite side of the street, and just stood there, staring at our house for about 30 minutes. That we called the police again. They said it wasn't illegal to stare at someone's property and dismissed the whole thing. Even when we told them what he did on our lawn, they made us feel like we were overreacting. That we couldn't sleep for days. Any noise outside terrified us, even normal ones. Then one night, at 2:52 a.m., we got a notification. I woke my girlfriend and said, "Someone's outside." "I know it. Please check the camera." She did. And there they were, .2 masked men coming from the side of our house, shining flashlights into our windows. One of them, the same man who had been harassing us, was holding what looked like a crowbar. Why us? What was the point of this? For days on end, he would stand across the street, pointing, waving, or shouting things up at our window. Every time we looked, he would stare blankly at us. It was clearly meant to scare us. And it worked. That we kept contacting the police, but they've done very little. The harassment continues. That we've got cameras now. That we record everything, but we feel powerless. Just earlier today, he stood outside again, staring up at us. That we got it on video. We're absolutely terrified, but we'll update if anything else happens. What makes this story truly terrifying is not just the presence of a stranger, but the persistence of the threat. None of these actions, on their own, seem like serious crimes. Staring, whistling, standing outside a house, even touching a door handle. But when all of these behaviors are repeated by the same person over a long period of time, with a clear pattern, they are no longer random. This is where real fear begins. Fear born from uncertainty, from not knowing what comes next. The most disturbing part is this: the victims did everything right. They reported it. They gathered evidence. They asked for help. But because nothing worse had happened yet, no one stepped in. And that is exactly what people like this rely on. They understand the boundaries of the law, and they stay just close enough to them, never crossing far enough to be arrested, but never stepping back enough to disappear. And the victims, in a home that should be the safest place in the world, they go to sleep in fear every night. Perhaps the most frightening question in this story is not, who was he? But this, if one day he decides to take just one step further, who will actually stop him? If you were in their place, would you feel safe?